Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Carol Moulton coming to you once again with Tea Time with Carol. And, I thought about it and I decided that we're going to go, I can't even talk this morning. We're going to go in a different direction today. We're going to, we've been talking about a lot of general things, but for the next 30 days, we're going to talk about money. And we're going to talk about what you need to do to attract more money into your life. Um, this is an area that I struggled with for a very long time and for a number of different reasons. When I had it, I couldn't hold on to it. I did all kinds of wrong stuff. And I've spent some time fixing that, figuring out what the problem was. And I've sort of now that I've sort of done that and come to some conclusions about it, I'd like to share it with you. So come in. I'm pouring the tea. You know what? I discovered a new tea this week. I went to the Van Gogh intensive experience. It's an immersive experience where I can't even describe it, but you go to their Van Gogh paintings, but it's like a whole wall of the painting, and it's interactive and it's beautiful music, and I'm going back because that's how much I fell in love with it. But anyway, um be that as it may, I oh my point about that was that one of the things that I bought in the little souvenir shop was this tea, and it's called blooming tea, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but when you put it in water, and the tea is like a ball, like a little ball, and when you put it in water it blooms like a flower. So, and that's what it looks like. So it's interesting. But anyway, this series, we're going to do this for the next 30 days. We're going to, and at the end of 30 days, I really want to hear back from you and see if this has changed your life as much as it's changed mine. But we're going to call this series Empower Your Mind, Enrich Your Life. So we're talking about money, but if you want to see change in your pocketbook, you've got to start with your mind and how you think about money and what your story is about money, because the way you think about money doesn't really start with you. It really starts with the story that you were told about money. And that began when you were just a teeny tiny baby, and the things that you may have heard your parents or your caregivers say about money. It's not enough, it's evil, it's wrong. Only, in order to have money, the kinds of things I heard was, if you've had money, if you've got money, you had to do something wrong to get it, because rich people are bad people. Those were the messages that I kind of grew up hearing. So, when you hear negative stuff like that, I mean, who would want that? That's understandable. So you end up with money blocks, and if you've got money blocks, it can come out in a lot of different ways. But a couple of things. One of the things that I'm going to recommend is that you grab a journal and take notes as we're talking, because this is something that you're going to want to go back to, because there's several things that for the next 7 to 10 days I'm going to suggest that you do. But anywho, let's get started. To figure out if this applies to you, let's just talk about some of the ways that blockages can come up. You may be blocked with respect to money and not even really realize it. So let's talk about the symptoms that you are money blocked. Well, first and foremost is if you've got guilt about money. You feel guilty when you have it. You feel like you need to get rid of it. It's gone before you even realize it. You might feel like you need to give it away. I had a client once who felt obligated to give money to her non-working relatives every time they asked because they made her feel guilty about working. She had a good job, and they would say, well, they made her feel like they were entitled because she had more than they did, but she was working for it. But we worked on that, and by the end of our time, I think they had stopped calling her because it really didn't do any good. And I'm not saying don't help your relatives or anything, but when it becomes a life choice that you are helping people who are not trying to help themselves, and they're guilting you into giving, then that's not healthy. That's really not healthy for you or for anybody else. Um, and some of that comes from, and this is the second one. So money guilt is the first one. The second one is if you don't have confidence about money. If you feel like you don't deserve money, you don't deserve to be rich, you don't deserve to be self-sufficient. Now that's in very extreme cases. Or you don't take any risk because you believe automatically you're always going to fail, you know. So you always give your power away to your spouse or your partner or even your kids. That's another indication that there's some blockage there. A third blockage, and you may not think of this one as being related to money, but it's procrastination. When there are things that you need to take care of, like writing out all your bills or paying your bills on time. That's an indication that maybe secretly you believe, well, it's not going to make any difference, or who cares, or I'll get around to it. That's an indication that your money blocked. Um, maybe you're also financially tongue-tied. You find it very difficult to talk to anybody about money. You don't, in a store, you don't try to negotiate anything. It's like, let me just pay and get out of here. That may be a sign that you are money blocked. If you put up with negative situations, if you stay in relationships that drain you, whether it's, a toxic friendship or marriage or, whatever, um, if you've got so many volunteer things that you're doing that your whole life has become unbalanced, that can be an indication that, you know, it's a money blockage, because you don't want to make money because you feel like, oh, I need to take care of these deserving, children or deserving people, and God will take care of me. Whatever it is, it's out of whack, out of where it should be. So um maybe you're working for peanuts. That's another one. Well, there's a money mentor named Denise Thomas who says only circus animals should be working for peanuts. So unless you're working in a circus, although you may feel like you do, you should not be working for peanuts. So, but all of the things that I've mentioned are signs that your relationship with money is not healthy. And so one of the things that we want to talk about today is how to discover that and how to change that and make your relationship with money healthier so that you can I can't talk, so that you can attract money into your life rather than repelling it. We're going to talk about the science behind this. We're going to talk about very specific things that you can do, but it all starts, if you want money, if you want financial freedom, it's got to start with your mindset. And as we go forward, we're not going to talk about all of these things today. We're just getting started. And today we're just going to talk about your story. And you will have homework. So it's okay. It's okay. So one of the things that um, I want you to realize is that the only one who can change your money story is you. If you've got a negative, disempowered story, if you feel like you can't make a change, this is how it's always been, you're used to it, you're accustomed to it. Well, let's swap that out for an action story where what you want really becomes your reality. And by gosh, by golly, why not? You're fabulous. You're entitled. Why not? So if you feel like you're blaming yourself for how things are, that this is all your fault, that your financial situation right now is really bad, um, first of all, let's lose the blame. You know, we're living in incredibly difficult times. If you have survived the past couple of years, kudos to you. So let's not do any blame game stuff at all. So I'm not sitting in judgment because heaven knows I've made some humongous mistakes. But one of the things that I need you to do in order to shift this whole thing is to listen for the negative stories in your head. And a lot of them are unconscious, but I want you to start becoming aware. When you go to pay for something, when you think about buying something, I want you to think about the little voice in your head. What is that voice saying to you? Is it saying, well, if you're being greedy, because you're asking for too much. It's greedy to think that you deserve more than X amount of money, or you're greedy if you buy those shoes for yourself because you could be donating that money to charity, or you could be doing blah blah blah. So think about the kinds of stories that you're telling yourself about money, and we're going to shift those stories, and the negative self-talk. If you make a mistake and call yourself stupid, I want you to catch that and start talking to yourself and swapping out those stories for something that is much more empowering. Okay, that'll make you feel so much better. But what if you're in a situation where it's not you that's the one that's financially irresponsible, but your partner or your spouse? What if they're the one saying, hey, can you give me $80? I spent, all of my money on the FanDuel or whatever the thing is where people are betting online and losing goo gobs of money. Um, you have a choice. I mean, you've got $80, but you were planning on getting your nails done or your hair done. And you can feel guilty, and give the money out of guilt. Or you can say, hey, why don't you call your friend and see if you can carpool with them next week, or I'll drive you to work next week. But I really don't have it for that. And that's fine. That's not lying, but you don't have it for their irresponsibility. You have it for something else. And it's your choice. And it's time to feel okay about the choices that you make. You can only change yourself. You can't change anybody else. And if they want to be irresponsible, it's not your job to be the rescuer. And a lot of us have put ourselves in that position where we're always rescuing everybody in our family. There's always some drama. And it's certain family members, it's not all of them, but it's the same ones every time, who are always in a pickle, always coming up short. There's always some huge problem that you are the designated one to save. And that stuff gets old, you know. But you've got to figure out what the payoff is. Because if you continue to do it, if you continue to rescue them, there's a hidden payoff for you. Do you like being admired? You know, what's the payoff for you? What are you getting out of it? Not just them, they're getting your money, but what are you getting out of it? You know, are you just a financial doormat? I mean, what? But you know, if your answer is yes, cool. You know, now you're able to face the truth. If that's the case, then now we can do something about it. And you can say no, and you don't have to explain. And you know, that was probably the most empowering thing that I have found, that I don't have to explain. Oh my God, that was so freeing. Just no. No is a complete sentence. It's not no, but no, I'm sorry. No, let me explain. Nope. No, just no. So if you're committed to make changes in your life and ending up with more money, because at the end of this, at the end of the 30 days, I believe and I'm trusting that you will be well on your path to not only changing your relationship with money, changing the way you think about money, but really attracting money into your life. Instead of repelling money, you're going to be attracting money. So that is my challenge to you for the next 30 days. And so the way we're going to do that, the first step for you is to identify what your money blocks are. And one of the things I want you to do is to write out your money story. You know, what were the lessons that you heard as you were growing up? What were the things that people talked about money? How did that go? I mean, was it we don't have enough? Whatever the story was, I'd like for you to write it out. Don't worry about doing anything about it right now, but just acknowledge what it is and where that came from. And then we can look at what are the phrases you need to get rid of, you know, and write those out. What are the things that you say, you know, every time something comes up, what's your default about money? Oh, there's not enough. Oh, there's too much month at the end of my money. I don't deserve it. Whatever those things are that you say all the time about money, I want you to become aware of what it is that you say, number one, what your story is, two, what you say, and then three, the things that you need to get rid of. What are it may be people, I don't know, but what are the phrases that you say that you need to get rid of? And when you cross it out, you say to yourself, that statement is no longer relevant and has no power over me anymore. That statement is no longer relevant and has no more power over me anymore. So, and then replace it with a statement that's realistic and positive. You know, if you feel like it's time to let other family members sort of pick up if you're the one they always call to solve all their problems, you know, you just say no, you know, respectfully, no. Well, you could, well, maybe, but no, no, not doing it. So be honest about this, you know, and be aware of the hidden payoffs that keep you in, you know, going around in circles with this, and having people always call you, and that's part of your story. So just be really, really, really honest, you know, about that. So this is the journey to clear the money. But before we can call something in, we've got to clear the gunk that's in there out. So this is the key. Understand um, where these blocks came from, whether it was society in general, whether it's from your childhood, whether it's past experiences. Maybe you've been through a bankruptcy, maybe you had a really bad marriage, or you had something that happened, lost a job, or there was a big illness and you lost everything. And that's okay. It's okay. Whatever has happened, but it doesn't have to be the continuing story. So I'm tempted to tell you a little bit about neuroscience and why this works, but I think I will leave that for next time. Next time we'll talk about neuroscience and neuroplasticity and how using neuroscience will make this work for you and make you a believer. But for now, we're just going to, for the next 7 days, what I'd like for you to do is focus on the blocks, identifying the blocks in your life. Can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't change what you don't see is there. So just focus on that. And next week, we will continue with removing those blocks. Once you've identified them, we're going to get them out of the way. And then we're going to start calling in the things that you want to see in life. More money, more wealth. We're going to help you get there. So I hope this helps you. And I hope that this is the beginning of a shift in your life. And it can be if you choose. If you so choose, it's up to you. It's completely up to you. But we're going to stop here for now. I think this is sufficient. So remember, get a journal, write down those blocks, identify them, and sit with yourself long enough to be able to identify what the blocks are. So remember, we're talking about the story that you have about money, and we're going to start changing those negative stories into something more positive so that we can start attracting in the kinds of things that you want to see in your life. So with that, we're going to end for today, beloved. And remember, I love you. I care about you. I want to see you grow and be successful. I want to see real positive change in your life. And remember, everything you want, everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So until next time, be sweet, be good. Love you, love you, love you. And we'll be back to talk next week. And oh, don't forget, if you got any comments or any questions, contact me, Tea Time with Carol on Facebook or on my personal page, Carol Moulton. And we will, and you can also call the number at the bottom of the pictures if you're looking at this on Facebook.